As we discuss these issues, let each of us do so with a good dose of humility. Rather than pointing fingers or assigning blame, let's use this occasion to expand our moral imaginations. To listen to each other more carefully. To sharpen our instincts for empathy and remind ourselves of all the ways that our hopes and dreams are bound together. After all, that's what most of us do when we lose somebody in our family, especially if the loss is unexpected. We're shaken out of our routines. We're forced to look inward. We reflect on the past. Did we spend enough time with an aging parent, we wonder. Did we express our gratitude for all the sacrifices that they made for us? Did we tell a spouse just how desperately we loved them, not just once in a while but every single day? So sudden loss causes us to look backward. But it also forces us to look forward, to reflect on the present and the future. On the manner in which we live our lives and nurture our relationships with those who are still with us. We may ask ourselves if we've shown enough kindness and generosity and compassion to the people in our lives. Perhaps we question whether we're doing right by our children. Or our community, whether our priorities are in order. We recognize our own mortality, and we are reminded that in the fleeting time we have on this earth, what matters is not wealth, or status, or power, or fame, but rather how well we have loved and what small part we have played in making the lives of other people better. And that process of reflection, of making sure we align our values with our actions, I believe, is what a tragedy like this requires. For those who were harmed, those who were killed, they are part of our family. An American family 300 million strong. We may not have known them personally, but surely we see ourselves in them. In George and Dot, in Dorwan and Mavi. We sense the abiding love we have for our own husbands, our own wives, our own life partners. Phyllis, she's our mom or our grandma, Gabe our brother or son. In judge role, we recognize not only a man who prized his family and doing his job well. But also a man who embodied America's fidelity to the law. And in Gabby, we see a reflection of our public spiritedness, that desire to participate in that sometimes frustrating. Sometimes contentious, but always necessary and never-ending process to form a more perfect union. And in Christina we see all of our children. So curious, so trusting, so energetic. So full of magic. So deserving of our love. And so deserving of our good example. If this tragedy prompts reflection and debate as it should, let's make sure. It's worthy of those we have lost. Let's make sure it's not on the usual plane of politics and point scoring and pettiness that drifts away in the next news cycle. The loss of these wonderful people should make every one of us strive to be better. To be better in our private lives, to be better friends and neighbors and co-workers and parents. And if, as has been discussed in recent days, their death helps usher in more civility in our public discourse. Let us remember it is not because a simple lack of civility caused this tragedy, it did not, but rather because only a more civil and honest public discourse can help us face up to the challenges of our nation in a way that would make them proud. We should be civil because we want to live up to the example of public servants like John Roll and Gabby Giffords. Who knew first and foremost that we are all Americans, and that we can question each other's ideas without questioning each other's love of country, and that our task, working together, is to constantly widen the circle of our concern so that we bequeath the American dream to future generations. They believed, and I believe that we can be better. Those who died here, those who saved life here, they help me believe. We may not be able to stop all evil in the world, but I know that how we treat one another, that's entirely up to us. And I believe that for all our imperfections, we are full of decency and goodness. And that the forces that divide us are not as strong as those that unite us. That's what I believe, in part because that's what a child like Christina Taylor Greene believed. Imagine for a moment, here was a young girl who was just becoming aware of our democracy. Just beginning to understand the obligations of citizenship. Just starting to glimpse the fact that someday she, too, might play a part in shaping her nation's future. She had been elected to her student council. She saw public service as something exciting and hopeful. She was off to meet her congresswoman, someone she was sure was good and important and might be a role model. She saw all this through the eyes of a child. Undimmed by the cynicism or vitriol that we adults all too often just take for granted. I want to live up to her expectations. I want our democracy to be as good as Christina imagined it. I want America to be as good as she imagined it. All of us, we should do everything we can to make sure this country lives up to our children's expectations. As has already been mentioned, Christina was given to us on September 11, 2001. One of 50 babies born that day to be pictured in a book called Faces of Hope. On either side of her photo in that book were simple wishes for a child's life. I hope you help those in need. Read 1. I hope you know all the words to the national anthem and sing it. With your hand over your heart. I hope you jump in rain puddles. If there are rain puddles in heaven, Christina is jumping in them today. And here on this earth, we place our hands over our hearts. And we commit ourselves as Americans to forging a country that is forever worthy of her gentle, happy spirit. May God bless and keep those we've lost in restful and eternal peace. May He love and watch over the survivors. And may He bless the United States of America. Psalms 46:4-5. Barack Obama. Address to the Turkish Parliament. Delivered April 6, 2009, Ankara, Turkey. Mr. Speaker, Madam Deputy Speaker, distinguished members, I am honored to speak in this chamber. And I am committed to renewing the alliance between our nations and the friendship between our people. This is my first trip overseas as President of the United States. I've been to the G20 summit in London, and the NATO summit in Strasbourg. And the European Union summit in Prague. Some people have asked me if I chose to continue my travels. To Ankara and Istanbul to send a message to the world. And my answer is simple, evet yes. Turkey is a critical ally. Turkey is an important part of Europe. And Turkey and the United States must stand together. And work together to overcome the challenges of our time. This morning I had the great privilege of visiting the tomb of your extraordinary founder of your republic. And I was deeply impressed by this beautiful memorial to a man who did so much to shape the course of history. But it is also clear that the greatest monument to Ataturk's life is not something that can be cast in stone and marble. His greatest legacy is Turkey's strong, vibrant, secular democracy, and that is the work that this assembly carries on today. This future was not easily assured, it was not guaranteed. At the end of World War I, Turkey could have succumbed to the foreign powers that were trying to claim its territory. Or sought to restore an ancient empire. But Turkey chose a different future. You freed yourself from foreign control. And you founded a republic that commands the respect of the United States and the wider world. And there is a simple truth to this story: Turkey's democracy is your own achievement. It was not forced upon you by any outside power, nor did it come without struggle and sacrifice. Turkey draws strength from both the successes of the past and from the efforts of each generation of Turks that makes new progress for your people. Now, my country's democracy has its own story. The general who led America in revolution and governed as our first president was as many of you know, George Washington. And like you, we built a grand monument to honor our founding father at Towering. Obelisk that stands in the heart of the capital city that bears Washington's name. I can see the Washington Monument from the window of the White House every day. It took decades to build. There were frequent delays. Over time, more and more people contributed to help make this monument the inspiring structure that still stands tall today. Among those who came to our aid were friends from all across the world who offered their own tributes to Washington and the country he helped to found. And one of those tributes came from Istanbul. Ottoman Sultan Abdülmecid sent a marble plaque that helped to build the Washington Monument. Inscribed in the plaque was a poem that began with a few simple words. So as to strengthen the friendship between the two countries. Over 150 years have passed since those words were carved into marble. Our nations have changed in many ways. But our friendship is strong, and our alliance endures.